Hi, I'm Max Spainhour.
And I'm Troy McCormick. Welcome to Indiana Outdoor Adventures. Welcome to Indiana Outdoor Adventures. I'm Troy McCormick, and today we're out prospecting in central Indiana. We're with the Gold Prospectors Association of America, and Jim's going to tell us just a little bit about the association and why we're here today.
Okay. Basically, we got a scout outing going on today. Gold Prospectors Association was formed in the late 1970s, and it was basically formed for prospectors to get together and protect our rights as prospectors, and to be able to go out and find gold and enjoy the outdoors.
And it's a chance for people of similar interests to get together.
Right.
Yeah,
we all enjoy it. We're rocking mineral clubs here and everything, and we're finding fossils and gems. And
we're teaching some Boy Scouts how to look for gold.
Well, hopefully they're learning something, and we've been finding some good gold this weekend. We set up on this sandbar because of the slow turn it has here, and hopefully when the water loses velocity, it's going to drop that gold out, and the boys will be able to dig it up and find it. So.
Yeah. Now it was pouring down rain earlier.
Right.
We delayed getting started today, but it's turned out to be a decent day for it. It's not too hot. The river levels, or the creek level's nice. Can we tell them where we are?
We're in southeastern Indiana. We'll go as far as to say that, and I'm even in Decatur County.
Okay, what about the creek?
We're going to leave that a little bit.
Gold prospecting is a lot like largemouth bass fishing. When you find a good spot, you necessarily don't want to tell everybody where it is. So we'll leave it out there as a little ambiguous on exactly where we are, but we're in Decatur County.
Yeah.
And we're prospecting for gold. We're on a stream, and we're at a bend in the stream where when the current is up higher, it has hopefully deposited gold on this sandbar.
Right.
Now, tell me a little bit about, gold is not native to Indiana, so tell me a little bit about the gold that we're finding.
The gold we're finding is what they call placer gold. It's flood gold. It was brought in here by the glaciers and everything back long before we were even thought of, or even our grandparents. And so now this gold gets redistributed and everything through the flooding process and everything. And that's really what we're doing, is we picture this stream and where it was at a flood stage, and moving this heavier material, and gold being heavier than water and even the stones in there, it settles deep and tries to find the lowest point it can be, and it takes a large amount of volume of water to move even a very small piece of gold because it is so heavy.
And the gold we're finding is probably from Canada.
More than likely Canada. We actually had two glaciers come in, the Wisconsin and the Illinoisan, and they kind of crisscrossed, and they crisscrossed a little further north in the state of Indiana, but again, with a 9-mile sheet thick of ice and that melt, it's really spread out across the state.
And so that's what we're finding mixed in with the glacial rocks is the glacial gold.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So now we're set up here on the sandbar, and we've got different stations set up for the scouts.
Right.
We've looked at we're going to look at a sluice box.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at panning.
Right.
We've got a deep water dredge operation.
Right.
We've got a shallow water dredge operation. Tell me what we've got here.
This is actually what we call a high banker, and this is set up as a high banker combo, because when I get into some smaller streams, I can't take the dredge and everything. It's a little too much to pack, so I can actually run a dredge operation off of this also. And we shovel into this and work what we call a pay streak, and try to find a black sand layer that's hematite and magnetite, and work that black sand layer and hopefully recover gold in this operation. It's a little backbreaking. It's a lot of shoveling and a lot of work, but anything good and good for you takes a little bit of work.
And the idea is you're shoveling the sand and the gravel, you're dumping it in here, and we've got a pump back here that's just pumping water in. And then we've got kind of like a sieve screen in here that gets all the big stuff out.
Right.
And then what happens to the medium and smaller size stuff?
It actually, what we call a grizzly in here, and it takes all the, like you said, larger rocks out, and then I actually go down to an 1/8-inch punch plate.
Okay.
So anything that's smaller than an 1/8 inch is going to drop and hopefully catch in my black rib matting in there.
Okay.
and all your larger stuff is going to come down, and hopefully, if it's set up correctly, and your riffles are creating a back eddy to catch the smaller material, and the miner's moss, there's several layers in there to catch even the finer gold. This gold that we're finding isn't big nugget chunks and things like that. It's not lode gold. Oh yeah, we wish it was. But it's what we call flour gold, as fine as the baking flour you use at home. And I call it pepper flake gold, a little bigger. Find some stuff about the size of a grain of rice we call plates. And then we get some flakes, and there's been some flakes found in the northern part of Indiana, corn flakes, you know.
But this is small gold.
This is small gold down in this area. We find some grains of rice, and there's been some nice plates found this weekend.
The idea is you take the miner's moss, which collects everything, you put it into a bucket, and you're going to pan that later.
Yeah, it all boils down to panning.
Yep.
You pan to begin with to find your pay streak. Then you work your equipment where you can run power equipment and where it's legal to run power equipment. And then your cleanup is right back to panning to get that fine stuff back out. It all revolves around panning. If you're on a good pay streak in an 8-hour day and you can come up with, we like to call it the quarter theory.
Okay.
If you've worked an 8-hour day and come up with a quarter gram, you've had a good day. Anything more than a quarter gram,
it's a great day.
It's a great day, and the steaks go on the grill.
There you go.
You know, so.
After serving our country, serious injury shouldn't prevent our veterans from enjoying life. Paralyzed Veterans of America works with veterans to ensure that their health care and benefit needs are met, provides assistance with career needs, and offers challenging and rewarding activities. The Kentucky and Indiana chapter of PVA is proud to provide adaptive sports for members that includes hunting, fishing, trap and skeet shooting, bowling, and billiards. Visit us online to learn more about Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Hi, Jim Donlin here from Westside Bait and Tackle in downtown Indianapolis. We are one of the oldest and best stocked bait shops in Indiana. Since 1951, we've offered a large selection of live baits, including minnows, night crawlers, bee moth, and more, all at a low, low price. We have a complete selection of name brand rods, reels, lures, and tackle. We also have a full-service rod and reel repair center, so stop on in and see us soon.
For more information, go to www.westsidebaitshop.com.
Here at White House Whitetails, after 20 years of growing trophy bucks, we have developed a product called Buck Bullets, a hybrid supplement.
Buck Bullets is not only designed to be an excellent attractant, but also a fully loaded supplement to improve antler growth and health of your deer herd. It can be used in your backyard wooded area or in your hunting area.
You too can add at least 10 to 20 inches of antler to bucks in your hunting area the first year with Buck Bullets fully loaded hybrid supplement. Hillbilly Custom Game Calls, offering the finest and precision-made diaphragm mouth calls for wild turkey hunting. Each call is handmade and gauge stretched for exact tension each and every time. Select from double and triple reed calls like you've never heard before. We also have an assortment of handmade wood box calls, glass and slate top pot calls, and predator calls that will make us your source for all of your custom game call needs. Look for us online at www.hillbillygamecalls.com. We've got people who might come out and spend a week, and there are different places around Indiana.
Right.
Tell me about the legality of it, though. You can't just go somewhere and pan for gold.
Right. Recently, the Department of Natural Resources that I'm a hunter and trapper instructor for has passed regulations that say you have to have written permission on private property to prospect.
It doesn't have to cost anything.
Right.
You just have to have written permission.
You have to have it in writing that you're allowed to prospect there. Navigable streams, you're allowed in the state of Indiana, you're allowed to prospect on. However, you have to have permission from the riparian landowners, the landowners on either side of the creek, to actually be there because they're affected by what you do.
Right.
And then there's state property, Morgan Monroe State Forest and Yellowwood State Forest in the state of Indiana, that you actually go through the Department of Natural Resources and contact that property manager, and he'll give you a permit to actually prospect on their property. Now, you're not allowed to use power equipment on state property. It's panning, but again, you're back to it starts and ends with panning, so it might as well be panning all day.
Now, there's a small fee associated with that one, isn't there?
No, that permit is free from the state of Indiana. As of right now, the state...
So financially, it's not going to cost you anything for this kind of recreation. You just have to get permission, whether from private landowners or from the state DNR.
Right.
Okay. Now, if I want to find places, tell me how I join the GPAA and what I get for that membership including how to find places.
Right. You can contact GPAA through their website. It costs $67.50 for a year-long membership. It's called the Buzzard Special. They will send you a pan, a snuffer bottle. With that membership, you get access to GPAA claims nationwide that you're allowed to use with their miner's guide. And they send you video or a DVD on how to look for gold and how to find gold, how to pan. And for $67.50,
Yeah.
you get to enjoy the family, you get to enjoy the outdoors and other properties across other states. So if you want to take a vacation, you can plan your vacation around some of those properties you're allowed to be on.
Because they have claims all across the country.
Across the country.
That you can, if you're a member, you are allowed to then go and work that claim.
Right. And gold in the United States has been commercially mined in every state except for 2, and that's Kentucky and Hawaii.
Interesting.
So at some point in time, there was a commercial mining operation in every state in the United States. Some of them didn't, quote unquote, pan out.
Yeah. Pun intended.
Pun intended. Yeah. They weren't economically viable to sustain an operation, but there's gold in those states.
And of course, we got the gold rush in California. There's still claims being worked out there. I read somewhere there's like only about 10% of the gold has been found to date.
Right. 10% of the gold that's locked up in lode mines or in placer situations, only 10% across the United States has ever been, quote unquote, discovered.
Wow.
So
you don't have to go to Alaska. You don't have to go to California.
Right.
You can pan for gold right here in Indiana.
Right here in Indiana, and even the states close, it's called those one-tank trips.
There you
can
go.
do one-tank trips to Ohio and Michigan and Illinois.
Well, we've got members out today from the central, we've got members from northern, central, and southern chapters.
Correct.
Of the Indiana GPAA.
Right.
So anywhere in Indiana you can join, and there are like-minded members that you can meet up with and maybe learn a little bit more from and share experiences with.
Right, and there's 3 weekends out of a month. There's a mining operation, a prospecting operation going on. The first weekend of the month, northern. Second weekend of the month, southern. Third weekend of the month, central. You got 1 weekend that if you want to just go out on your own, or you can buddy up with these group members and really learn, you know, what we've learned.
Yeah.
And everybody is willing to share the information they have.
Great. Well, you know what? I'm anxious to get out and see if they've been finding any gold, so let's go check in with them and see what we
That'd
find.
be great.
Jim, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right. Greg, tell me a little bit about what we've got here to look for gold.
This is just a basic sluice box that is operated by the natural flow of the river.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to set up a dam wall to get enough water flow through.
So you kind of created a little bit of a barrier here.
Right. You want to set it up to where you have enough flow to carry the material without it building up. And it's usually about a 1-inch drop for every foot of the length of the box.
Okay.
And it's not the quantity of water that goes through it, it's the speed of the water.
So the speed of the water carrying the material through.
Carries the light material through, and it catches the heavy material.
And gold is heavy. That's
heavy.
a good thing.
That's right.
Okay. Now, inside the sluice box, we've got ripples, and what's the black mat at the bottom?
In this one, it's just a piece of outdoor carpet.
Okay.
But you can get what they call miner's moss. It's like a rubbery mesh.
And it's meant to catch the gold.
Once it's in there, it locks it in to where it don't come out.
Okay. So as the material gets dumped in, the water carries it across the ripples, the miner's moss, and leaves the gold behind.
Leaves the gold. It'll leave black sand.
Okay.
It'll catch lead. Anything that's heavy, it'll catch, and the light stuff goes out.
It'll just move on through.
Right.
Now, to help with the process, though, what are the boys doing over here with the dirt when they're digging it?
They're classifying it from getting all the bigger rocks out. So everything bigger than a 1/4 inch, they're throwing out.
Okay.
And it's just running the small stuff through the box.
So classifying is a process of taking a shovel full getting out the big stuff, sifting through to the smaller stuff,
Yep.
so that you can then send it through the sluice box.
Just right.
Okay. Now, what's the benefit of a sluice box versus just panning?
You can process more material in the same amount of time.
Okay.
You probably do about twice the material in a day as you can just panning.
Great. So I think we've about got enough material classified. We can try running some
All
through.
right, let's do it.
Let's give it a try. Deanna, have you found any gold yet?
I think there's a flake right down there.
Yeah.
No, I haven't found any.
Is it hard work, or is the fun and the possibility of finding some make the work pretty easy?
That's pretty easy and fun.
Yeah. Now, have you ever panned for gold before?
No, this is my first time.
Well, I'm hoping you find some in there.
I don't know if you can. There's 3 little flakes right there. Over here.
Well, we've got our fingers crossed. We're prospecting down here in Decatur County, and we've seen a lot of different kinds of ways to look for gold, from panning to sluice boxes to dredging operations. A lot of different ways, but the whole idea obviously is to find that little bit of glitter of gold. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed, see if some of this black sand in my pan doesn't have some gold color in it as well. Life Essentials in Brookston, Indiana provides the products you need to become more independent. Products like our Journeyman wheelchair provide all-terrain access for the hunter and all-around outdoorsman. Every year, thousands of people are born with or acquire disabilities. Whether your special needs are for residential, commercial, agricultural, or just enjoying the outdoors once again, we customize our lifts and mobility products to fit your needs. We're raising you to new heights. Call today and we'll work with you to take back your life. Cave Country Canoes, located in the heart of Indiana's Cave Country, offers a variety of canoe rental trips, from half-day outings for beginners to 2-day adventures for the more experienced enthusiast. Our canoe trips follow the gently meandering Blue River through the wooded hills of southern Indiana. Abundant wildlife and great fishing opportunities abound. Go to cavecountrycanoes.com for more information about our canoe and kayak trips. Your next adventure is just a paddle away.
Lawrence County is an unexpected destination found in the heart of southern Indiana rolling hills, offering recreational landscapes, a rich limestone heritage, and unique outdoor experiences. This area is limestone country, well known for limestone quarries and stone carving heritage. It's also the home of Spring Mill State Park, geocaches, the scenic East Fork of the White River, and underground caverns. Plan your adventure at limestonecountry.com or call 800-798-0769.
Looking for adventure? Marengo Cave has it all. Explore the underground wonders of Marengo Cave with our 2 easy walking tours, or go on an adventurous cave exploring trip with hard hats and lots of mud. Kids will love discovering gemstones at the Cave Springs Mining Flume. This U.S. National Natural Landmark has been open to the public since 1883 and provides breathtaking views of underground cave formations. Visit us online at marengocave.com and plan your visit today. Welcome back to Indiana Outdoor Adventures. I'm Troy McCormick, and joining me today is Bob Milano. And Bob has worked with a team that's created a very interesting application for iPhones and iPads. Bob, tell me just a little bit about the Deer Age tool that you guys have created.
Well, Troy, the Deer Age tool is an app for the Apple iPhone, the iPad, and the as well as the Android and the iPod Touch. It really assists the user in identifying the age of a deer, both on the hoof before you may actually take and harvest the animal, but also afterward. And it does that through a series of flow charts to really drive you to the final destination, which hopefully gives you a pretty good idea of what the age of a deer is.
And obviously some historical techniques for aging a deer. When I worked for the Department of Natural Resources, if we worked at a deer check station and we wanted to age a deer, you had to slit the mouth open because you had to get views of the teeth. Mm-hmm. And the idea was to get to the jawbone to where you could look at the cusps and the dentition and see if the premolars were there or not.
Yep.
And you had to just kind of work your way through sometimes actual models, or in this case, you've got actual jawbone. So the idea was to get something more digital in the hands of the hunter. Absolutely.
The purpose behind it was really to make it simple for someone to age their deer without having to cut a deer head off, extract a jaw, and go through a lot of lengthy process to really get to the jaw. It all can be done in the field. The app starts off with a simple flow chart that basically says, am I going to evaluate this before or after harvest? The first module says, let's evaluate before harvest, on the hoof, typically called aging deer on the hoof. And it'll give you characteristics for fawns, for 1.5-year-olds, 2.5-year-olds, 3.5-year-olds. The idea is so that you know approximately what the age of the deer is before you actually take that animal. And then from there you can go to a 1.5-year-old, it describes it, it shows you photographs. A 2.5-year-old, it describes it, it shows you photographs. It's very simple to use, and it was built so that when you're hunting in the field, you've got something nice to read while we all spend a lot of time in the field doing nothing.
And many of us will have an iPhone with us, the ringer off, and maybe surfing the web or texting your buddy, have you seen anything yet? Yeah. Well, having an iPhone app now lets us have a deer aging tool while we're in the field.
It's a great way to learn about the age characteristics, because a lot of people want to do what they can to try and manage the deer herd, and most deer hunters are interested in getting deer with big antler mass. And antler mass is really a component of 3 different things. It's genetics, which we as hunters or deer managers generally can't control. It's nutrition, which is something that a lot of us can control by building food plots, or in some states where it's legal, feeding deer. And the third is by harvest, and so to know and keep records of your harvest and to try and harvest deer that are older will give you a pretty good indication of whether or not you're achieving your management goals for the deer.
Yeah. So now if you've harvested a deer and you have access to the jaw now, to the teeth, before, and I've seen where jaws were drilled through and you had a 6 month, 1.5 years, 2.5, and you just had to do the old comparison.
Right.
Now your app allows us to do a digital comparison.
Right. This was all kind of born out of a hunting trip where myself and several friends of mine shot one of the biggest bucks that we had taken, and like most hunters, we squabbled and argued over how old that deer was, and finally...
No, it's got to be 7.5.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at that tooth. It's worn like crazy. It's got a gray muzzle or gray fur. It's got to be an old deer. So we all kind of placed our bets, and we knew about tooth wear and replacement method. We knew that this could be done, but we were really inconvenienced by the fact that no one had a deer aging tool with this, where they've got actually 3-dimensional casts of deer jaws.
Most check stations don't either.
Yeah. And they also don't have the paperwork with them to do the aging right there in the field. So we thought, it'd be really neat if you could come up with a really easy way to do this. And one of the guys pulled out their iPhone and said, just imagine if you could actually make an application that has the ages of the deer jaw on the phone, where you can pinch and zoom and hold it right next to the jaw in the field.
And just compare with pictures.
Just compare with pictures. Do we get a match? Flip it to the next one. Do we get a match? Flip it to the next one. Keep going till you get the patterns matched up. And
I've gone through the app, and what's really nice about it is you really do have pinch and zoom capability.
Yeah.
And if it's like a dichotomous key, it's either this or it's not. So you go to the next one.
Right.
It's either this or it's not. And you're looking at really nice detailed photos.
Uh-huh.
And you can pinch and zoom in, close back down, and you work your way through to age your deer.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious. You've got a background in Indiana DNR Fish and Wildlife.
That's correct.
Did you have any computer programming background, or how did this team come together?
Not me at all. In fact, I need to come clean and say I'm the one who really does none of the work here. I'm the spokesperson for the company per se, and it came and it was born by the idea of doing this with a deer jaw, with one of the guys saying this is really neat that we could do this, and then fortunately we had a couple people that we knew that were out of work and looking for a way to use their skills at programming. They were gifted at that.
New challenge, new program needs. Yeah.
Brought them in, and several of us got together and formed the company and said, let's give this a go. And
tell me the name of the company.
the company is called Enzo Creek. And
you can find it online?
Yes, you can, enzocreek.com. And it's just basically a group of hunters and fishermen that really want to create apps for outdoor users. That's been the focus.
Yeah, okay. Now, if I wanted to buy the application,
you would go like most people do.
Go to the App Store.
Yeah, there's only one way to get an app for the iPhone or the iTouch or the iPad, and that's the Apple App Store. And you can download it there. If you're using Android, you could go to the Android market and download it from the Android market. It's even available on a CD if you want to use it on a computer.
So you could have it at home on your desktop?
You could, yes. Right.
Dragging that deer into age at the
yeah,
family might not like that,
but we've gone full circle that way,
Yep.
from making it simple to back to making it hard again. But yeah.
Great. Well, obviously, I like the bigger pictures you get off the iPad. I like the convenience of the iPhone.
Right.
And the ease of use is what's really nice.
Yeah, it is. It's much simpler and makes it clean. And most people always want to know how old their deer is. And the purpose is to bring this into the field where you can use it in the field without an internet connection. So even if your iPhone, like most of us, don't get an internet connection when we're in the field, you can use this, and the information is stored actually it's all on the device. So the actual intellectual content of it is really what brings the value. It's not that easy to find known age deer jaws to put this thing together.
Well, and like I said, the quality of the pictures is superb.
Yeah.
So you've got good photography, you've got good access to those right there. So you're paying for a quality app. So tell me, what's on the horizon now? What other projects are out there? Do we have more outdoor apps, or what do we have going on?
Yeah, we do. We've got 2 outdoor apps that we're working on right now. One related to waterfowl hunting, another related to turkey hunting.
Okay.
And we've got a couple of apps we're working on for a couple of outdoor broadcasters that are podcast applications.
Okay. Well, sounds exciting.
It is.
Well, great.
It is.
Well, thanks for bringing Outdoorsman yet another way to connect to not only their sport, but to technology.
Well, thank you very much.
Great.
Appreciate it.
That's it for today, and we'll see you next time right here on Indiana Outdoor Adventures.